Welcome to the Coastside Fire Protection District Board of Directors Special Board Meeting, December 18, 2024. Roll call, please. Hi.
Good evening, Board. Director Hannah,
Present.
Director Cheryl,
Here.
Director McKimmey,
Here.
Vice President Cockrell,
Here.
and President Burke.
Here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the board at this time? Hearing none, I'll close the public comment period and move on to the consent calendar with a note that Director McKinney is asked to be recused. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar? So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments? Roll call, please, Kai.
Director Hannah,
Yes.
Director Cheryl,
Yes.
Director McKimmey,
Recused.
excuse me, recused, and Vice President Cockrell,
Yes.
and President Burke.
Yes, aye. With your permission, the board, I'd like to just change the agenda a little bit and move on to election of officers. A little bit out of order, but I think that should be taken up first. First of all is the election of the president. Do I have a motion? Move that Gary Burke remain as president.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any other nominations?
I would just like to make a comment that I do still think that some level of rotation would make sense. I know that it's never really happened, but I've seen it common on our boards. And just so others have, as on this board, it's not like an extreme difference. But the experience shared would probably be some.
Points well taken. Roll call, please. Aye.
Director Hannah,
Yes.
Director Cheryl,
Yes.
Director McKimmey,
Yes.
Vice President Cockrell,
Yes.
President Burke.
Yes. Moving on to vice president, which is not on here, but I'll make a motion to nominate David Cockrell as vice president. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any no nominations? Roll call, please, Kai.
Director Hannah,
Yes.
Director Cheryl,
Yes.
Director McKimmey,
Yes.
Vice President Cockrell,
Okay.
President Burke.
Yes. Motion passes. And I'd like to suggest, as I think I've done in the past, that regarding committee assignments, they do not have to be enacted or acted upon at this meeting, but if any member would like to change committees or do something different, we can do that at any meeting, including this meeting, if you'd like to do it. Some people look at you, Cynthia, or certainly to have you involved in certain makes ultimate sense and so forth. But there is no reason that we could not if somebody just feels strongly about it one way or the other. So with that, I'll just note that we will remain on the same committee standings as we had in the past, but with the understanding that they can be changed at any time if the board member would like to do so. Patrick, regarding your comment, I mean, there is some, I understand the merit of some rotations and so forth. Without going into the background, we've had some kind of adverse things that went on when we had rotations in the past. And I think sometimes that kind of weighs on our mind and makes us a little bit leery to go through that again, but I don't dismiss the comment that you made. I understand it's point. Okay, all right. Moving back, if that's it, moving back to the continuing business. And item number 6, continuing business. Review, discuss, and approve the Coastside Search Standard Operating Procedures. Chief Cox.
Thank you. This is a long time, sorry, go ahead.
we need to vote on that?
I have to recuse myself. I'm recusing myself from the discussion as required by the FPPC regulations because CERT is a source of income to me as the compensated program coordinator of the organization.
Okay,
President Burke, do we need to vote on just the committee assignments or?
no,
Because we're leaving it the same.
that is not required. Okay. Refresh my memory, Kai, or perhaps Chief, the fact that Cynthia is accusing herself from this is simply because she had a portion in developing this? Or is there financial consideration?
Which I think it's financial.
Financial?
She receives money.
Okay,
for her
points well,
position.
points well taken. Thank you, Cynthia, for noting that and bringing it up so good. With that, Chief?
Thank you. This is a long time coming. If you remember, in May of 2019, the board approved becoming the sponsoring organization for the COSIDE CERT. FEMA requires all CERT teams in the United States to have a sponsoring agency, which is a government agency. COSIDE Fire Protection District is that for COSIDE CERT. What that means is the best practices for being a sponsoring organization require standard operating policies or procedures so that the CERT team knows how to operate during a disaster, how training works, and really sets the course for how CERT operates under the sponsorship of COSIDE Fire District. So what we've done over the past, gosh, it's been at least a year now, is meet with the CERT leadership, look at best practices that are out there, look at what are necessary for the COSIDE, and develop a solid set of standard operating procedures for COSIDE CERT, which adopted by the COSIDE District Board would be the document that COSIDE CERT would utilize for operating their own COSIDE.
I hope a lot of this or most of this was boilerplate. There's a lot.
It's a lot. I think there's a lot of intricacies because there's a big CERT group on the COSIDE. So there's a lot of multifunctioning kind of pieces to it. The other piece is there's different levels of training.
Correct.
There's different requirements of training. There's different levels of activation. There's different practices for actions that CERT trained personnel shouldn't take. So it's all encompassing. I have to imagine there'll be tweaks as we move forward and learn and go. But right now, this has been agreed upon by staff and the leadership from COSIDE CERT as far as the best practices moving forward.
Awesome.
Here, just a question, is there a underlying FEMA document that some of this is taken out of?
Yeah, so FEMA has kind of like guides on how to run a CERT organization. What we also did is pulled in a lot of CERT SOP manuals from Monterey and different organizations throughout the state to see what pieces worked best for us. The unfortunate part is not one SOP manual works for everybody. There's different emergency response setups, there's different activation protocol, there's different language. So it's very specific to COSIDE CERT.
And a copy of this will go to each member of CERT?
Yeah, so the CERT, this will be available on the website, so anyone can access it. CERT will obviously utilize it in their trainings that they do for new CERT members. And the other piece of this is all CERT members will have to sign the kind of,
Agreement or whatever you.
well, it's an agreement for how to act, basically understanding the rules of engagement when representing CERT and working in the CERT organizations, which is outlined in here as well.
I think, and I'm sure you've done this, but the real key points for us as a sponsoring organization is summarized on page 5. And there's a number of bullet points there that kind of takes into account our role in this type of thing. And I assume that from a legal point of view, there's nothing in this that would provide any financial or any other kind of exposure to the COSIDE Fire Protection District.
Yeah, and I might be able to add to that. I do know that when they're in a training environment and when they're activated for an incident, they are considered disaster service workers, DSWs by the county. And there's actually a formalized process for the DSW workers' comp coverage when they're actually acting in that capacity.
Questions, comments?
My only question is, I assume this is just finalizing and establishing more formally what we've basically been doing, and this just took some time to literally put it on paper and get it correct.
That's correct.
I mean, you've already said that it's similar-ish to other agencies, Monterey and whatnot, so this is required or needed to have for our sort of involvement.
Yeah, that's correct. And a majority of what's going on in here is how it already operates.
Yeah.
And it's really just formalizing on paper that the district understands and has the same expectation that CERT does.
And with kind of what President Burke mentioned as far as maybe exposure or insurance or whatever, does this, having this document, protect us in a certain way that we weren't, or is it just?
Yeah, Kai, I'd probably defer to you on that if you can hear it.
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear the question. Could you repeat it?
Yeah, the question is, this document is formalizing effectively what we have been doing with our relationship with CERT. Does the document itself and its completion apply any protections or, in regards to CERT vis-a-vis the district? Whether it's legal or not.
I don't know if it necessarily buys protections, but it sort of lays out it lays out the plan that's to be followed. And so that's beneficial in and of itself.
Thank you.
The JD, did you have something?
Oh, just look at this 501c3 designation. Which implies to me that there's some money involved here. And some money must be moving around. And it's kind of curious, I never realized there's a financial piece of this. And as a result, they have the IRS tax exempt status. I just kind of was reading this whole thing and saying, somehow I missed that over the years.
Well, originally they were not a 501c3.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought, yeah.
They generated it, but as far as our relationship is, we do not get involved with 501c3. That is their business.
Okay.
And I don't even know, because I assume they have their own board for the 501c3
Yeah.
portion of the organization.
They've got a president, secretary, and treasurer, ways here. Okay, and the other thing here, then, so is CERT sponsored by the board, or is CERT sponsored by the operational, like by you?
By the district, so it has to be sponsored by the district.
Okay.
It was sponsored in 2019 by the board.
Okay, thank you.
So we are going to adopt this, or it says approve?
Yeah, saying it another way, the standard operating procedure of this document is our policy.
Right,
Is that what it's going down to? Yeah, okay.
so we would adopt this policy.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of interesting that if you look at this multi-page document, very detailed, and I'm not knocking it on this necessarily to get it done. But you look through this thing and you look on page 6, there's one sentence that's the policy. The rest of this is information and background. One sentence is the policy. That's it.
Okay,
Okay. Any other comments? We have a motion to approve the COSITE CERT standard operating procedures. Is there a?
There's no number attached to it.
So do I have a motion to approve the COSITE CERT standard operating procedure?
So moved.
Second, moved in second. Any further comments? Roll call, please, Kai.
Director Hannah,
Yes.
Director Cheryl is recused, Director McKimmy,
Yes.
Vice President Cockrell,
yes,
and President Burke.
Yes. And I would like to, on behalf of the board, compliment the chief and Cynthia for, I'm sure, an awful lot of effort in preparing this document. As you can see, it's complicated. Oh, yes, thank you. I was saying that complimenting you, Cynthia and Chief, for your efforts in putting this together. I'm sure there's a lot of dialogue and a lot of back and forth, but you produce a very fine workable document. Thank you. I'm sure this will be very helpful. I would add just one other personal observation. I looked through this thing to get it, so some time ago, I was in a position where I had to write reports for a group of people on the board and so forth. And the first time I wrote it, I thought, I use every big word I could find. And I wrote, many pages and so forth, and handed it in to the gentleman who was the chairman of the board and so forth, and my boss at the time. He looked at it and he says, do you know that the Declaration of Independence was written on one page? Ever since then, I get suspicious of all these types of
Something
things.
about revenue.
It sticks in my mind. Moving on after that, new business, resolution approving public project and lease agreement with McGrath Rent Corporation for a mobile modular management corporation with temporary station 44 modular building chief costs.
Thank you, and Kai, please feel free, and I know we have Sean Rose on the call as well. This is before you, this is for the rental of the temporary fire station 44. And I know you got an informational update at prior meetings about the path that we were going to take regarding whether it would be a purchase or a lease. We're here today recommending the lease with Mobile Modular. It'll be a total of $273,000, $273,915 over the course of the project and the lease. That includes $143,298 for delivered installation and anticipating $76,784 in monthly rent over 3 years and a $17,800 removal return charge. This facility, Chief Silva has been designing with Sean, contingent on the permit being issued for the temporary fire station to be created.
Are they gonna do the dirt work as well?
No, we have to, once we get permitting, then we have to hire a company to do prep work for the site based off the county's permitting process and what they require for water control, erosion, possibly some sort of ground cover, maybe whatever the county recommends in their process. And then once that's ready, then we'll be ready to move on site.
Okay.
So application for PG&E has been submitted for temporary power for that site. And that permit for the county has been submitted as well, and also Montero Water has been submitted. Might not have been submitted yet. I think Sean was waiting for PBK to get back on some water demand type stuff, but we're ready to submit that to Montero Water and Sewer as well.
Excellent. Is there any guesstimate on cost for site prep?
I'd have to ask Sean on that, if he's available. If we have any idea on what it may cost for groundwork and site prep.
Yes, hi, everyone. Good to see all of you. Hopefully you can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. We don't have a formal estimate yet. The work is, as Gary said, I mean, this modular building was a separate vendor. It would arrive on site. The remaining work is the site work itself is, as Gary said, is the grading, the drainage, whatever they're going to require with the erosion control on the site, and the fencing around the perimeter, and also the construction of the apparatus. There'll be a tent, temporary tent structure for the apparatus bay, which will be an outside bay. It'll just be a tent over the equipment. We don't have a formal estimate yet. I'm thinking that will be on the order of 100,000, but we're not quite there to give you a reliable estimate yet. I would say just sitting here now, maybe 100 to 200,000, but could be quite a bit different than that. So I think we'll have that fairly soon. We just submitted our first draft permit for all of that work I just described to the county a couple of weeks ago, and we're waiting to get comments back.
Okay, thank you.
Questions, comments?
Well, kind of along the same line as far as costs, I mean, we've started obviously to start spending some decent sized money with the architect and now this. Is there something that we can have that we can look at that's the overall budget and kind of make sure we're ticking along in the appropriate numbers? I don't know if this is what we expected or not, you know, just so we can kind of, from a board perspective, see, okay, out of oh, whatever it is, the 13.5 or 14 million put aside for this project, this is how it will hopefully break down as per an expectation, and then we can
Sounds
kind of,
good.
that way we can judge it and say, okay, this is a little under what we expected or a little over.
We can do that.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
You know, I think it also, is important to make sure that perhaps the limits reflect the fact that why we're doing this. And the fact is that, we're going through this and these expenses for this temporary locations because we looked every place to get another place to locate the building. And I would not like the public to think that we were, you know, being offhanded just deciding to do this. We looked elsewhere to avoid this cost, we're unable to do it. So that was the motivation to go forward with this. Other comments, okay? If I had this up correctly, Chief, at least on this document, it comes about, we're saying approximately $238,000, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's for a 3-year lease of a temporary building,
Yeah.
both installation and removal.
And the other, we say this is, we're in the final design and permitting stages, but it has not been approved by the county yet.
No.
No, okay. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2024-58?
Yes,
Yes.
so moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please, Guy.
Director Hannah,
Yes.
Director Cheryl,
Yes,
Director McKinney,
Yes.
Vice President Cockrell,
Yes.
and President Burke.
Yes. Moving on, that's progress is being made slowly but surely in getting 44 completed. Moving on to the Board of Directors and Chiefs report. The Finance Committee did not have a meeting, but in our packet is a spreadsheet of our expenses and revenues through the first 4 months of the year. There's some notes, there's some small increase in our apparatus reserves that are in here. I noted that we've reduced our expectation as to what we might receive from the ambulance service in terms of potential revenue based on the uncertainty going on with the ALS GPA. And also just note that the Cal Class contract, which is one of the more recent ones, continues to produce good revenue and provides us some diversity with that. The contract for the old station 41 is in service, as you note in here, and the county's been very prompt in paying that fee every month, so that's additional revenue to us. We have, right off the top of my head, we have a contract with AMR to locate here in Station 44. We have a contract with the San Mateo Bus Company here, as well as the Sheriff's Office. I'm not sure, maybe there's another one.
Yeah, those are the 3.
Yeah, to do it. But everything on the finance at this point looks solid and in good shape. Any questions? Okay, the other item I just called your attention that is in the board packet as a public document is an assessment of the monies that we had invested for the healthcare for our previous employees, previous union, and a very detailed report is in here. I just in here if you're want to get analysis paralysis. I look at if you look at page 2.1 and note that since the inception of this investment with PAS, we've earned 7.72% since that time, which I think you'd agree was very positive. And then the other document, the other thing I would just point out is that on 2.5, It just shows the market value of our investment since, at the end of, September. And again, we're over $4 million, which was the original investment 8 or 9 years ago.
This is the original funding of it.
Yeah, I think it's, 8 or 9 years ago, but that's just information, public document, seems to be doing very well, with that. Any questions? Volunteer committee report? Director Caulfield, Director Hammond. Mhm.
I attended the volunteer meeting earlier this month. And we discussed the coming training for additional coastside volunteers. And the number I heard was we have 6 coastside, 1 from Kings Mountain, and 1 from Honda for our next training academy. I donated some money to the senior coastsiders. And they also got involved with Coastside Hope, and 100+ women. Meeting was attended by 3 of the volunteers. Tell them how they were going to spend the grant that they got from the women volunteers. That's the high points. They seem to be doing all the things they're supposed to do. And we've had some of the volunteers end up as employees in the district, so. I think that speaks for a pretty good program.
Patrick?
Yes, nothing to add. I'm sure every chief will add some stuff in regards to the academy that's ongoing, but.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Land and Structures Committee, Director McKinney, Director Cheryl.
Jim Silva.
Let me see if Sean wants to report out, and if not, I can fill in. Sean, would you like to report out on where things are with the South Walk 44 in the TAM station?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. Here, let me just pull up my my notes. Yeah, just very briefly, did you say, Gary, the south lot, Station 41 South lot?
Yes, that, and then we can just kind of give a quick update on where 44 is circulating right now, and then the 10th station we kind of just talked about, so I don't have to go over that one again. So just
So sure. So the Station 41 South lot project, we brought that to the board on November 20th. And then, as I said at that time, we'll be bidding the project in January. And then we'll bring that back to the board for to award the construction contract. And we should have all the cost and funding information at that time. We've been working on the bid documents. Those are pretty much ready to send out. So we'll be, as I said, we'll be bidding all of that out publicly in January. As we talked about previously, the county Safe Route to School grant is already awarded. We're still waiting on the county funding agreement, but they're just waiting on our bid results to finalize that agreement. But we are expecting the county to provide that funding. And we're on track to commence construction in the spring and be complete by the middle of next year in that project. Unit Station 44, PBK, our architect, has completed the 90% design. It's currently circulating for review. We've been looking at some of the finishes and materials earlier this week. Once that is at 100% level, we'll submit the county building permit application. I think, as you know, we have the planning entitlement. We just need the building permit now. So we'll submit that to the county, and then we've put in service applications with PG&E for both the temporary and the permanent station sites. And we've been working with PG&E to get that to both temporary power for construction and also the permanent power connections for those sites. Current schedule is from PBK is to start construction in late 2025. That is contingent on the utility service connections and also the county building permits, which are obviously external, so we don't completely control that timeline. But that's in addition to the design bid award work that we need to do that we do control. So all in all, I think we're looking at mid to late 2025 to be able to move into the temporary station, which will then allow us to start construction on the permanent station. And then once we do start construction on the permanent station, we're looking at a 12 to 18 months to complete that. And then be able to decommission the temporary station and move into the permanent fire station. And that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Sean Bruce here. You mentioned the grants, but we only get those grants if the district pays for work on the west side of the Obispo, correct?
Is that, oh, right, if we, well, the grant, not the safe route, yeah, that's true, Bruce, the safe route to school grant. And the county ADA grant for the Station 41, you're talking about the Station 41 South Lot. Both of those are contingent on us awarding bid alternate 2, which is the full sidewalk and crosswalk improvements.
On the west side.
On the side crosswalk across Obispo, and then that little the curb ramp at the corner. We don't go beyond that. We stop at the far side curb ramp on the west side of Obispo. But that's part of that bid alternate 2, and it includes all the sidewalk all the way around on Alhambra all the way to Cabrillo. So we would need to do all of that to get those grants, but of course we don't have to award that. So, and I think we'll have the funding picture. We'll have the cost picture once we get the bids. For when we come back to in March.
Okay, thank you.
That will come back to the board.
Yes,
Yeah.
good.
Okay. Anything else, Sean?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, any questions? Gary?
No,
Okay, vegetation management, Director Cockrell, Director Hannah.
No comment from myself.
Okay, Special District Association, Director Hannah.
No comment or no.
Take the fifth.
Let me, moving down to the ALS JPA, let me make a couple of comments and I welcome Chief any observations that, I think I'd start off by saying that the whole ALS JPA dispatch center is in kind of a state of flux. Would that be an appropriate word to use to do it? And just as a background, you remember a couple months ago, actually, I think back in July, we received and all members of JPA received a letter from the county basically saying that we had to pay up more money for the dispatch center. And I'm just netting it out, and please correct me if I'm incorrect. The JPA management and us, with some input from our attorney, said that the county should be going through the JPA, not us individually, because we're members of the JPA. That started the thing. Things came to somewhat of a halt from that. The request from the county, by the way, that for the first year was an additional $111,000 for the dispatch. That's where it was in. And no action was taken other than saying what the JPA saying that we thought the ALS JPA thought it was appropriate to deal with the ALS JPA, not individual members of that thing. The current status is, as I understand it, and by the way, I chatted with the current executive director, I guess, is that what Clay Holstein is at the present time, at some length a couple of days ago, very informative and so forth, but to say that anything from my perspective, that anything was on the table trying to resolve who pays more and how and it's going to be allocated between ambulance revenue to us and what we pay for dispatch is still on the table. There's nothing has been definitive has been done at this particular point in time. The only takeaway I had is that the management committee of the ALS GPA is in some kind of dialogue with the county and meeting, and also there's a special committee that I am on. I think it's had one meeting. I'm not sure it even has a name, but Clay said that they're going to organize that committee and have another meeting in January and provide some kind of input to the county onto what the ELSGPA stands and what we'd like. But as of this moment, from my perspective, it's in a state of flux and nothing has changed. And please elaborate or correct me.
It's fine.
Anything? Okay, all right, any question? You know, it's a, I don't recall from memory, maybe for us, it's the current contract, we receive additional monies that is distributed through the JPA. And the other members of JPA, like us, would, in some cases, lose sizable amount of money that would have a real impact on their fire department. So some of the members, I think, are very much more incentivized to do something different than we are. I certainly think that some changes might be appropriate, maybe some raises in costs and so forth based on inflation, that type of thing, but it certainly would be, a loss in revenue to us. But I don't think it would be anywhere near as destructive as it might be to some other fire districts. That's it. Okay, all right, moving on. Emergency preparedness report. Is this Director Chief Cosgrove? Yeah,
It would be.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw him earlier, he's not here today.
All right, we'll move that on. Sir, report, Director Cheryl.
Certain, the good thing is this month I can actually speak and deliver a report. So the November, December report, we did certify 21 new certs
Good.
at Fall Cert. We had a storm safety presentation on December 14th at the Coastal Rep Theater. It was given, Chief Cosgrove was the host, but the presentation was made by Frank Ferrone, who was with PG&E. It was one of his best presentations. It was basically how not to get electrocuted when power lines come down. It's the third time I've seen him do it. This was his best one. And we managed to have the event in the middle of an atmospheric river. So, although we had 130 people who had reserved, 55 brave souls showed up, and they came through a pounding storm, wind, rain, all that. When most of their electricity was out, the irony of it all, and the coastside rep was out. So we had an opportunity to run our own drill with who knew how to run temporary batteries and lines and lights and everything else. And we got the thing going with a little bit of help from Chief DeLay and his temporary battery array. And we went ahead and did it because that's what we do. It was Coastside Cert in action. And the people who came said it was an outstanding presentation. So very timely. If anyone's interested in this presentation, Frank gives it all over the region.
Very good.
Was it that, the model map thing that unfolded and it's got all the wires and?
It doesn't do that. It's
Oh.
the, do you remember the Train Boy segment, the video? Okay, if you've seen it, you would never forget it. It was the whole Train Boy presentation. So it's all about not getting electrocuted. And some people do in the course of this presentation. So it was remarkable and he did a great job and we all learned a lot. So I'm grateful for that. We sat with Chief Lord here in the training office and arranged our 2025 calendar around the training appointments that the Volunteer Academy has coming up, and they are very busy this coming spring. So we're grateful for that, and we've posted our whole year on our website now at the station. Enthusiasm for spring cert in March has been accelerated by 2 atmospheric rivers and a tsunami warning. So we have 39 people who have signed up for a spring cert, even though it doesn't happen until March. We know some of those will drop out, but that's a nice start. The tsunami warning was an interesting exercise for CERT. We covered that in our CERT training. There are 4 things you do just right out the bat. And we put those on our website. So we were very pleased that Supervisor Mueller mentioned on Monday night at the changing of the City of Half Moon Bay Guard that the people who knew what to do were the CERTs, and that they followed their training, and they were the segment of the population who did what they were supposed to do. So that information is still up on the website. If anybody's curious, there's just 4 things you do. And you have to know about 2 other sites. Upcoming events are our Neighborhood Leadership Forum on the 25th of January. And that's my report.
Very questions? Comments? Very thorough report. Great. Thank you, Cynthia. Moving on. Attorney's report. Hi.
Hi, everyone. No report tonight other than to pass on Jean's apologies for not being here. She's a little under the weather, but it was nice to be here in her place.
Thank you, Guy. My master's report.
Good afternoon. For the month of November, 42 plans were reviewed and 30 inspections. We are approximately 99% done with all mandatory and annual inspections, so we'll have 100% to report for next month's meeting and report.
Very good, very good. Chief Cox.
Yeah, thanks. Just a few things, short today. We're still waiting on the state fire marshal's local responsibility area fire hazard assessment draft recommended maps. Should be forthcoming in the very near future, and we'll probably hear a lot about that, just because it'll have an impact countywide. So we'll bring that before you, should it be necessary. As far as agreements, the only agreement that was entered into this month was with our insurance provider for our policy for the year. That agreement was signed about 2 weeks ago. As far as staff and volunteers are concerned, the Volunteer Academy is going well. Chief Lord, I spoke with him yesterday. All the 8 students are doing well in the class. They will not be having the academy the weekend between Christmas and New Year's, and then go back to weekends starting in January. As far as outreach goes, firefighters have been doing the toy collection for donations to the community. And we had a tour this morning. We went, myself, Chief Silva, Chief Sampson, County Executive Office, County Planning, County Building, County Parks, County Radio Shop, to look at the North Peak Road that goes from the McNee Ranch all the way up to North Peak. That's the road where emergency work was done about 18 months ago to improve the road. Just for our knowledge here, that North Peak has some of the most critical infrastructure for radio communications in this county, including the single point of failure for all of the coast for fire radio systems. So from our perspective, it's a very, very important road to make sure remains open. There was a point about 2 years ago when the storm damaged us to the point that the power was out. We couldn't access it, the radio shop couldn't access it. So this tour today was really just getting the fire marshals and everyone to really look at what does long-term maintenance of that road look like. And by long-term maintenance, we talk about how to ensure that when we get an emergency up there, we have access. Our most recent rescue up there, it took us about 2.5 hours, and we had to eventually fly the person off by helicopter because our equipment just couldn't make it due to the washouts that are in that road right now. It's not a easy problem. It's a mountainous road that goes very steep, and there's a lot of different landowners, agencies, stakeholders in this. So the point of today's tour was just to get everyone aware and see how critical it is, which was always fun to get outside and go do something that doesn't involve the office. As far as the tsunami is concerned, just want to hats off to Chief Silva for running the kind of operation here. I was in an incident management team, incident commander training in Sacramento that day. Luckily, I was sitting next to our operational area coordinator for fire for San Mateo County as well, so we were able to step out and start to get to work. But I think there's a lot of learnings that came from this tsunami warning. I think the biggest thing that I keep reiterating everybody is, though the National Weather Service puts out a map and a warning that looks fairly dramatic, there is a nuance to that at the local level that really, we've been talking with DEM about how do we message that nuance back, and how do we get people to understand there's 3 different potential scenarios, not just the worst case scenario. So I think that was the biggest learning. Chief Silva, I know, was working closely with the sheriff's office to get, people off the low-lying areas and get the right resources in place. I think the unfortunate reality for our crews is, even though we're trying to get people to evacuate, there's not evacuate, but off the low-lying areas, there's a high likelihood our crews are gonna get dispatched to incidents in that low-lying area during that time. And I think that was probably a pretty.
Yeah, so the time that the tsunami was actually supposed to hit, we had a vehicle versus motorcycle at Surfers Beach. Which is the lowest, probably worst possible place to be. So we basically got dispatched to where technically the tsunami was supposed to hit, so we had an incident to deal with. Basically 5 minutes before the tsunami was supposed to come, so thankfully it didn't come, it's a big learning lesson, but in reality, our crews have to respond and they continue to respond to medical aids and they continue to respond to the vehicle accident and multiple calls during this time frame, which was kind of surreal because it's like, wow, we have a traumatic event occurring and it doesn't stop them from still having medical aids and vehicle accidents that they have to attend to. So,
There is a community meeting that Chief Silva and I will be at in Chief Wilson tomorrow night at 6 p.m. at Maverick's house. Hosted by Supervisor Mueller, just a community meeting. I think he's done 7 listening sessions. This is the culmination of that. To kind of get community input and discuss from DEM, fire, sheriff, what the learnings were and help improve the future. As far as apparatus go, I know I sent Megan, I don't know if you have that photo. That's our new engine in production. Just wanted to share the photo with it. That's the new engine 44. That's the 3rd and final Type 1 engine that we've had on order. I believe Captain Minkstein and Chief West will be flying out to Wisconsin in the new year. I believe it's February to do the final inspection on it before it gets delivered. So we should see it in service March or April here on the coast. And then finally, I handed them out. We got notice, a certificate of election results, and the election qualified persons for 4-year terms for District A are JB Cockrell and District B, Bruce McKibben. End report.
Very close to.
It was tight.
Yeah, twice here.
So can an engine get to the top of Montero Mountain?
Not right now.
But a 4-wheel drive.
Nope.
Throw an engine up there.
The only access we have right now, so if we, and for me personally, that is one of the single most important roads in this district or this coast side. Because if we have a north wind event with a fire, the most likely scenario is it's gonna come from that direction. So for fire access, it's vital. For EMS access, it's vital. Right now, we can make emergency access through the San Francisco watershed side, but it's just a very extended response from either Frenchman's Creek or all the way back off of Skylawn Cemetery, all the way back to North.
So what's the fix?
The fix is to get the road graded to a condition where an apparatus can make it up there. So it's grading and drainage, and then maintenance, ongoing maintenance to ensure that it doesn't deteriorate.
Is this happening right now?
That was today's meeting, is to start the planning process for how we get that done.
Who pays for that?
That's a great question.
The $1 million question.
$1 million be cheap.
That's it. Thanks.
Wilson?
I just have a few things. Everyone probably saw in the news that we had an event in Santa Cruz County that did include one of our CAL FIRE battalion chiefs. He's at home with his family, his new baby, and he's doing well. He's mending, he's just bumped and bruised. His truck did actually get lifted off the ground and is completely total. But luckily, him and the majority of everyone that was involved was actually minimally impacted. The most significant injury was a collapsed lung due to a branch penetration. And they will be recovering. It was a 1:30-ish on a Saturday, Christmas shopping, downtown Scotts Valley, and it just affected a small area and people must have been being watched over, so he's doing well.
Just to think of being able, you read on the paper, about the typhoons and all this other. In Scotts Valley, a wind lifts a pickup truck off the ground.
Yeah, when you're Christmas shopping and Jonathan has duty and he calls you and he's like, hey, man, Chief Garcia's been in an accident, from a tornado. And like,
There we go.
What? Is this April 1st?
what's going on? Like, what? You know, and I'm only like a mile and a half away, you know, geographically. I was like, okay. Yeah, so he's doing well. It's been in the national news cycle, so,
Yeah.
hopefully that'll mellow out, and we'll move on. And then my last thing is just to hope everyone has a happy holiday and, gets to spend time with their family. And that is all I have.
I had just one observation, I happened to be at the Safeway when the tsunami was going, I didn't get the message. Man, trying to get out of this town on the 92, that kind of a warning, you know, impossible, not going. I mean, it's, you know, one fender bender, and I think it was backed up beyond this road right here. That's right, it's just so much.
I don't see your car.
Other than the new freeway over the hill, it's, I think expectations that, you know, somehow we're gonna have a warning and everybody's gonna clear out is, misleading people. I mean, I have another, just a changing subjects on it. What was the status of paramedics? We have that person in training?
We do, yeah, with Micah, who's in the cohort number 3 that started, I believe that was November she started. So we should expect to see her completed in about a year from now when she's done her clinical day active.
And the two that were previously in training are now on duty?
Yep.
Yeah,
Here in the district.
that's nice. Great, that's fine.
Just one comment, if I may, and I think I was gonna maybe direct this towards Chief Cosgrave or whatnot, but I think it's worth mentioning and maybe having a further discussion, or at least an explanation as to during the tsunami and the expectation of how the warnings, how they're given, but how it was worded. And as President Burke mentioned, you know, very quickly, there was an incredible amount of people trying to buy gas and get out of town. When in the reality, even if we did have a tsunami actually hit our coast side, that, you know, just getting to a little bit higher ground level at this point, maybe 100 feet, whatever it may be. And those that already live in that area, just to stay in that place. It did cause, you know, accidents, traffic. I mean, there, as a volunteer, I mean, I was ready to engage in any incident. I would not have gotten anywhere. It was bad to see the number of people maybe just not knowing what to do, and so therefore just like we have to leave the entire region. So I don't know how those messages are written and how they're communicated. It'd be nice to understand that further, maybe on Cosgrave or someone else to,
Yeah,
you know.
I do know, so the, what's called the WIA, the wireless emergency alerts that everybody gets, that comes from the National Weather Service for a tsunami. The way that WIAs work is they're very coarse, they can't get granular on the targeting, so they have to target a very large area that includes people well outside of this tsunami inundation zone. I think the struggle is you get a WIA and you look at the map and it shows worst case scenario tsunami, right? Where a little bit of, I think the learning is how do we get the information, and when I say we, I mean emergency services, that the nuance is a level 1, and here is the actual predicted inundation zone to kind of calm that fear down of like, oh my gosh, I just got this WIA, it seems really important. What do I do now? How bad is it gonna be? And I think that'll be a pretty good learning for,
Yeah.
How do we make sure that we respond quickly with that inundation?
Excellent. And then one other question, and I don't know if anyone in this room knows, obviously there was a lot of question from the public, probably social media mostly, of, well, I didn't hear the tsunami warning go off, right? Which, as I now know and kind of did know, the sirens do not go off until a buoy is activated by an actual wave. So the sirens will go off in the event of an actual wave approaching our coast. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the short range, from what I understand, the short range earthquakes, when there's a very limited amount of time to react, the National Weather Service can't wait to put out the alert. So they put out the alert and then look for reaffirming buoy readings. So they didn't see any after for that hour, and that's why they canceled it. But should they have seen any change in those deep water buoys, then they could get more precise on the kind of size and potential impact areas. And that would trigger the level 1, 2, 3 for the playbook here in the county that would dictate whether those sirens get activated.
And then just a quick follow-up, do we have the knowledge to know how far the buoys are? So, you know, just so the public and myself, would know, like, if those do go off, not on the first Wednesday of the month at 10 AM, but they go off on a random occasion. How much roughly time, distance, you know, I'm talking minutes?
Is it the Half Bay weather buoy?
It's
Is it miles out? Is
a
it-
whole network of buoys.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they're far out. I think they're relatively close. They're all like.
13 miles.
Yeah,
I think that's what Half Bay weather buoy is.
yeah, and the issue is it's all reflex time, right? From where the earthquake struck. So the distance and location of the earthquake is gonna dictate the reflex time for how and when that information can get out. I know I learned a lot from this one, just doing it.
They did provide a potential inundation time frame after they pinpointed the size of the earthquake and its geographical location based on time and distance and water movement based on whatever data they had. So you had a general, I would say, time frame when the tsunami would hit a specific area on the coast. I think it ended in like the city of Capitola is where they thought it would lose all of its impact based on what it was. So there was a generalization.
Can I make it just a single comment observation from just being on the coast when it happened and then knowing how the board functions and about the messaging and the questions that have just come up right now is there's so many layers and there's so many different levels of government and knowledge. But it seems like as a district and as CAL FIRE, and Chief Cox, you said it well, there's so many lessons that are coming out that I think every organization will be better. But as far as the reality of the coast side and people's reactions, all comes down to education. And I hope that's the biggest thing that comes out through this group is like, how do we get the smallest amount of critical information to the public? You know, and so I hope we look at that deeper. Because we saw the chaos and even the no amount of planning's gonna prepare for it because it's just too many factors. But the messaging and the education, I think, needs more concentration.
Thank you, Steve. Just my observation, not knowing the particulars at all, but if the warnings come out, and I understand you have to get a warning out as soon as you can and know what it is. But the more warnings come out when there's no tsunami, fewer people are gonna pay attention. And that is bad news, and I'm not sure how you correct that. You just can't cry wolf all the time and have people stop reacting to it unfortunately, but enough of that. This is the holiday season.
24 nautical miles.
No, on behalf of the board of directors, we'd like to certainly wish everybody, including all members of CAL FIRE and their families, a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And thank you all for your excellent work. Thank you. Without objection, we are adjourned.
24 miles, 24 nautical miles.
Okay.
That's what it says here.
Wow.
Southwest of San Francisco. That's
You know,